Hi, my name is Daron from Property Partners, and in our previous video, we covered the 5 upcoming new launches that will be launching in 2025. So in this video, we want to do something different. We want to deep dive into one particular project, study the floor plan, study the site plan, really find out whether have the developers done it right or my thoughts on it so that you know how to select a right unit if you're going for this project. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Daron once again, and I've been in the property industry for well over 10 years now, serving over 500 clients. So if you want a more personalized discussion with you and your family, feel free to contact my number somewhere on this screen or scan my QR code and we can get in touch. So today I want to talk about Skye at Holland. This is a very popular project in terms of the fanfare behind it, but whether it will translate to good sales, that remains to be seen. But let's talk about the project and a bit of the details behind it. First, so a quick overview. Jointly developed by very reputable developers, CapitaLand and UOL. 99-year development, of course, because it's a government land sales, and it comprises of 2 blocks of 40 stories, so it's a high-rise building. And it has a total of, where is it, deal breaker? 666 units. So in terms of the bedroom types, right, it starts from a 2-bedroom all the way to a 5-bedroom. So no small 1-bedrooms over here. But you can see, right, the emphasis the developer has put is that they have loaded a lot into the 2-bedroom premium and 2-bedroom plus study, because they know that probably this is a size that a lot of people are gunning for. And it actually falls into a very affordable kind of a quantum that a lot of people can still like stomach, right? So I'm more interested when I look at any new project, right? I really want to study their site plan, right? And whether the developers have done a good job with it. To me, when I look at the site plan and how they have built it, right, I think they had a few things to consider. Because for this development, right, you have a wide array of facings. If you face the northern side, you will have a landed view. If you face the eastern side, you will face another project, One Holland Village Residences. If you face the south and western side, you will get all the HDB views. So to me, I think what the developer do is they try to maximize to get everybody to have as good of a facing if possible. So that's the reason why they did this way by building it slanted. For the people that are north facing, you do get the presence of, unfortunately, a bit of a western sun, but in return, you get back a landed unblocked view. For those people facing the south, instead of facing the HDB flats over here, they angle it in such a way that it's actually a south plus east facing. So if you buy a correct floor level, once again, not all units are. If you buy the correct floor level, because One Holland Village, the mall is only about 3 to 7 stories, you should be able to clear the mall and get quite an open facing. Someone, very thankful for that person, to go and fly the drone. So you have the pictures over here. So if you are getting the south facing One Holland Village, if you get a high enough floor, you get quite an open view. If you are buying the north facing, you're facing the landed side, you in fact get the view. Of course, comes with a bit of a road noise. So each got its good, got its bad as well. Okay, so let's look at the 2-bed, 1-bath. When you first walk into the living hall area, you will be faced with your kitchen, quite standard. But the kitchen is tucked to one side over here, meaning to say this space right over here, you can put a small like movable shelf, but can't really do much with it before it leads to your living and dining space. I have no issues with this particular layout until I saw the layout at Penrith. Because what I've seen at Penrith is that they can do a L-shaped kitchen that is, tucked in one side, so it feels a bit more spacious. So to me, if I were to compare both, I would think the Penrith 2-bed, 1-bath has done a better job. But otherwise, if you're okay with this kind of kitchen, then the rest of the floor plan, I have really not much big issues about it. Queen size bed for the common bedroom. The master is actually linked to the master bath, and you can also enter from the living hall as well. So nothing really much to discuss about this. I just wish it can build a bit more like the Penrith one, but if not, otherwise quite a straightforward kind of a layout. So where I'm more keen to focus on is actually the site plan of where the 2-bed, 1-baths are facing and your stack selection when it comes to buying this project. Pricing wise, of course, we don't know the actual pricing. We only know an indicative starting from. But what we know for sure is that these 4 stacks over here will definitely probably be the cheapest one because it faces the HDB multi-story car park. Some agents will recommend if you go for the cheapest one, you got more chance of appreciation because your entry price compared to your neighbor is very big. But I stand on the belief that you still need to have a decent attribute, because when it comes to a resale market, buyers are still somewhat quite emotional. So neither do they want to buy like a super not so good facing, right? I would choose to avoid the lower floors over here, get a bit higher, but it depends on how the developers are going to price this, right? If the high floor unblocked view versus a pool facing has a very big gap in price, right? Maybe the developer, if let's say they value the view more and they choose to price the view more expensive, right? Then actually going for the 2-bed 1-bath pool facing will be good enough, right? But if for some reason the developer priced the pool facing much more expensive, and then you have a choice to go for a high floor over here, unblocked view at a cheaper price compared to the pool facing, then I might be attracted to go for this one instead. So ultimately really have to see how the developer behaves in terms of their pricing. As for the 2-bed 2-bath, you sort of get like two different choices. So for choice number 1, this is similar somewhat to the Penrith kind of a layout whereby your kitchen is tucked in over here. And once you come in, oh, one thing I like, this one doesn't have any dead space. So immediately you come in, it's a totally usable space all the way through. Your living dining feels very, very comfortable here on the floor plan. You can have a proper 4-seater. I think even 6-seater also possible. Sofa wise, maybe this might be a slight issue, right? While the living hall is quite long, the problem is the wall over here is quite short. Meaning to say your sofa might be limited in terms of the length. Because if you are a very aesthetic kind of person, you don't want your sofa to be jutting out to the door here, right? So to me, that might be an issue if you are a fan of having a big sofa. Otherwise, nothing to really complain about this layout. Dumbbell layout, quite a nice one. In terms of the facing wise, you do get two choices. So choice number 1 is the landed facing with the west sun over here, compared to the other one, which is the pool facing. So once again, I'm not sure how the developers are going to price it, but from the way I look at it, right, developer seems to be valuing the big units with the landed view to be the premium facing. So if let's say they stick true to that belief, that means this stack over here should be priced a bit higher. Once again, I want to see the entry price. If the entry price is way much higher, when I talk about way much higher for 2-bed 2-bath, let's say it's 100k, 150k difference, right? Then go for the pool facing, I think is enough already, right? But if the premium is very, very low, then actually why not? Get the west sun facing, but it's a landed unblocked view. Not bad. So I put one over here to compare, right? I was looking at One Holland Village, which is actually your resale competitor right beside you, right? They do have a very large size one, 2-bed 2-bath at 829 square feet. In terms of like, it will be your comparable next time, right? So when they first come in over here, you do have like some of like a dead space. You maybe can do a shelving, but for 2-bed 2-bath, I don't really fancy having this kind of dead space because space is really so limited. Still want to have a walkway space, I think not so nice. Layout wise, there is an L shape kind of a kitchen. Okay, not say really a super big fan of it, but where I find struggles a little bit is the dining space, right? Because the developer allows you to put a 4-seater dining right over here, but it's quite a compact one. But I think this layout, right, easily you will go and push your dining to the balcony now. Because why? The living they give you quite compact, but they push a lot of space to the balcony instead. So when you do it something like that, on paper, while here is allowed to put a dining table, most people in reality will push it to the balcony area. So what I find this layout as compared to Skye at Holland, right, where it falls short for this particular layout is that I do see people putting their dining in the balcony, but I feel people want to have the choice. If I can put it here, and I want to put it here, it's up to my own discretion. But in this layout, it feels that you are really obliged to put your dining over here, which then limits the choice that buyers have, right? And then, you know, who knows, maybe people might not so prefer this layout as compared to this one over here, whereby you can put your dining here if you want to. You want to put a compact dining here also possible. The flexibility of your choice. So the other 2-bed 2-bath, you do have the dumbbell layout with an enclosed kitchen. I personally am a bigger fan of this one as compared to the other 2-bed 2-bath. So assuming all prices are the same, I think this is the one that I might prefer instead, which is the dumbbell layout, which everybody knows and love. And you have an enclosed kitchen here. Of course, there is still a presence of a bit of a dead space right over here, but you can do a shoe cabinet to actually maximize this space. In terms of facing wise, this one right here, you won't have the landed unblocked view. So you either have the One Holland Village view, the southeast facing, or the pool facing. So this one to me, I think quite clear as well. If I'm getting this facing, I will try to avoid the level 4 to 7 because I don't want to be facing the car park. I want to go at least like a 10, 15, 20, but neither do I need to go like super high as well, right? Because if there's one lesson I learned, right, is that if you buy a level 30 or level 35, right, you might pay a 50,000 premium, but the truth is your view is about the same. So why go for such a high floor unit when the lower floor unit gets the same job done at a much cheaper price? My apologies. There's actually 4 different facings for the 2-bed 2-bath. So you do have the landed unblocked view here. So this is stack number 5. Stack number 2 will be facing the pool, stack 11 faces the pool, and stack 14 faces One Holland Village side. Developer should be probably pricing this one the most expensive, which is the unblocked landed view. So once again, I really want to see the actual launch day price, right? To know whether which one should I go for my clients. To me, if it's an investor, even if it's an own stay buyer, right, I might buy certainty instead if the certainty is cheaper. But if for some reason the developer changed their mind, right, they say, hey, pool facing more premium and then landed view is cheaper, then yeah, hop on to the landed view instead. So on to the 2+ study for Skye at Holland. So since I'm not in the project team, I'm not like an IC or anything, right, I'll be really honest with this one. I'm not a fan of this one here. When I use my resale knowledge, right, and apply it to this property here, kitchen-wise, no issues. Living, dining, I think is very comfortable. I think it's the placement of the study that I might have an issue with. I may be proven wrong in the resale market next time, but I find that if you are giving a 2+ study, I would rather have it as a dedicated study rather than a corner over here, which doesn't really work up to be a study. It works out to be a huge master instead. If I'm buying this layout and I just really want space, right, I will hack away this wall if I'm allowed to, and then have it as a bigger master area. So I can push my bed more here. I can have my wardrobe to be more L-shaped. I can have a vanity top over here. But I find having the study in the master and then charging more for it, right, I feel left to be desired a little bit. So not a very big fan of these two over here. As for this one, a bit two minds about it. Because the study, yes, it's a nice corner, cannot really do much, but probably I will use this more like either a storage room, or some people who need a helper's room, you can actually carve out this area. I'm not too certain whether got aircon, I need to double check on that part. But if it has an aircon over here, then you can carve out a space. I think for a helper, it's a very comfortable, okay size, not the biggest, but can work. But if not, use it as a storage room. I might go for this one instead. As for the 3 bedrooms, you have 2 different sizes to choose from, but 4 different layouts. That is your 915 square feet and your 107 square feet. So let's look at the 915 square feet. So these two here, pretty similar, just in terms of the walkway here is a bit shorter, one is a bit longer only. But let's look at just one of them. For your 915 square feet, kitchen is an enclosed one. Of course, you don't have your yard and utility for this one. But kitchen, you still got the presence of a glass here, which means even if you're inside the kitchen, you can look out to your living dining. It still feels a bit more spacious, feels more comfortable. Dining is a comfortable 6-seater according to this floor plan. And then you can have a nice big 3-seater sofa with a TV over here. Bedroom wise, good size, all can put queen size bed or even a king size bed. But one thing that I think a bit left to be desired maybe really is the facing of this bedroom. This one here, you might get western sun coming in. I like that it doesn't face the back of the project, because usually if you face the back of the project means you're just facing the neighbor's unit very, very close, right? Or facing their aircon ledge. So at least this one avoids it by letting you face outwards. But this outwards facing might mean that this 3rd bedroom will have a presence of a western sun. So that's something to take note of. For this one here, maybe slightly better in a way that it is facing your aircon ledge, but of course aircon ledge usually will be slightly lower. So I'm not so concerned about that. But the view wise will be northeast facing. Actually here might be quite an open view. I think if I have a choice between both, I will go for this facing instead. But once again, everything is really depending on the entry price, right? As for the 1076 square feet, the main difference I think really is in the walkway space here. So, but the rest actually all about the same. You have your kitchen, your yard, you have a bomb shelter inside your place. All 3 bedrooms have the same equal good view. And then you have your common bath, master bath with windows, both bathroom with windows. Master, king size bed, common queen size bed. I think the story has been repeating many times already. So all developers these days, I think, should demand that their layout, right, must have a queen size bed in the common bedroom with a single bed kind of, I think usually will suffer in the resale market, right? This layout here, I think I want to focus more on the facing, because for these 2 floor plans, actually pretty similar, just very marginal difference, but the facing will be totally different. One is facing the pool, the other one facing the unblocked view if you get a higher floor. It really boils down to the entry price. Let's say the launch price might be okay, right? But these two can launch at totally different price point just because of the facing. Both, I think, are okay. Pool facing, mid-floor, high floor, I think is okay. Unblocked mall view, I think is okay as well. Nothing really, no red flags over there. But the entry price might be the one that determines where I'm going for. Of course, if you're a person that values your privacy totally, don't want to be facing another block, then you're obliged to getting this unit here. But if you're open to both and you are more worried about your investment, right, whether is it a good one, then you must really study, right, on the launch day itself, what is the entry price that I should go for. So during the launch day, of course, there will be a lot of emotions going on. The last thing you want to do, right, is to be very emotionally filled and then go down to the booking day and then be very, very lost down there. If you have already engaged an agent, of course, I can't help you there. But if you don't have an agent, typically what I always like to do with my clients is that we will take a step back. So a few days before, we'll find a time, sit down together, we'll discuss and actually shortlist, right, a bunch of units, maybe even up to 10, 20, 30 units, right, based on a very logical choice of how developers we think might behave. And along the way, sometimes as we get more updates about the potential kind of a pricing or kind of indicative kind of a starting price, right, then we can change our strategy and update it as we go. So even during the launch day, the booking day itself, right, we will arrive earlier, study the prices, whatever prices that we have, we will actually even change our strategy right on the spot as well. So that's why to me, very important is that you need to be able to work with an agent that you trust and you know, so that you're able to get good advice and then the person is able to dish out all this kind of information live to you, right, on the spot, right at the booking day. So on to the big ones, you do get two choices of the 1238 and 1464 square feet for different kind of appetite. This is just my initial speculation, right? Why the developer is willing to build such a good size 1464 square feet? They have actually seen the performance in nearby projects. That's my just a wild guess, right? Because this layout here has done very well in both Pine Tree Hill and Nava Grove. So to me is that if there the sales is doing very, very well, of course there has a 1 km to the good school, right? But if there is a tried and tested one and it's done very well, in fact it's sold out faster than the compact one. So as a developer, if I see that kind of results, right, I will know that if I build this similar one, I should be able to sell well as well. So what the developer has done is that for the larger one, they have given, of course, what they think is the most best view, which is the landed view. Some who are really mindful about it will feel that, I got the west sun coming into my wall over here. Sometimes people do have this slight kind of objection. I personally think it's a little bit too much. I don't think it's a super valid one. And I like that there's a bit of light coming in as well, lah. But that's just my own take. Some people are super very mindful about it. But otherwise, I think the floor plan is really nice. If I were to be really nitpicky about it, right, usually in a more luxury development, the private lift will be designed in such a way that it doesn't directly face into your living hall area. So a bit of privacy. Most of the time, you realize that there's a lot of habit to keep this door open, right? Taking a lift with other neighbors and then this door, you usually keep it open. Once you come out, neighbors can see into your living hall. So that's something that sometimes people are very mindful about, lah. So for luxury developments, I've observed, usually they try to build the lift in such a way that it faces like a wall or shoe cabinet so that you get more privacy. So yeah, small things to take note. But otherwise, living hall, love it. Landscape layout, my own personal favorite because it allows a lot of light in. House is very bright, looks more spacious. This kind of rectilinear kitchen, right, if I'm getting it right. I love this kind of kitchen because when you're not using it, you leave the door open, it's actually part of your living hall. It feels so much more spacious. Even when you're cooking, right, people who are gathering here, all that, it doesn't feel cramped at all. It's a very, very good size. Usually they do it in very luxurious developments. So I like that they bring it over here. Of course, this is Skye At Holland CCR, deserves a kitchen like that. Yard area, bomb shelter, third bathroom, good to have. Queen size bed for all the common bedrooms. A junior master as well with his own dedicated bathroom. So that is quite bonus. Master is actually a very good size. You have your king size bed here. You still got a lot of space right over here. I would think most people might do their vanity top over here with the natural light coming in. Walk-in closet, longer. If I were to compare with Penry from this, seems to be a bit longer with a nice size master bath. Aircon latch is hidden at the back, so good outside outline over there. For the 4-bedroom smaller one, we can either not say super small, but 1238, also a very good size as well. The key difference really is in the living hall area. Instead of a landscape layout, you get a portrait longish kind of a layout, but still very good size. Your dining table, 6-seater comfortable one. You have a dry kitchen outside before your good size wet kitchen. Yes, and this is what I was talking about. The private lift, if you're really so mindful about privacy, right, this is good. Private lift faces the wall. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So if the developer can do this for the 4 smaller one, why not do it for the 4 bigger one, right? I don't know, architecture limitation, all that. That one I'm not too certain. But yeah, this is what I like. For the 4-bedroom 1238, private lift comes up into a private lobby, doesn't look into the living hall, so you still maintain that privacy if you're the kind that keeps this door open. Rest of the bedrooms, all good size. Only one bedroom here will be facing the neighbor's unit at the back, so not much of a view over here. I think it's an okay compromise to have, because otherwise you will have your 4 bedrooms all in this side, meaning to say your walkway space is very long, a lot more wasted space. So I don't mind usually for 4 bedroom to have one facing the back. This one usually you can use it as your study room. If let's say you only have husband, wife, 2 kids, then give them the nice bedroom facing lah. You take this one as your study instead. But the master wise, a bit two minds about this master. Yes, you have king size bed, good size. Closet space is very comfortable as well. But I find that this awkward middle space, right, I can't seem to really do much with it. Neither can I put my table in the middle, neither can I do my longer wardrobe, right? Is there a better way to design this master? Otherwise, if you don't put anything here, it does feel quite spacious, so if you're okay with it. Okay, but before we digress into many other things, I want to study the facing of it. Of course, the 1,400 square feet, you only have one choice, which is the unblocked landed view. So this one, if your Q number is good, just buy a moderately high floor. I think is good enough, so that you don't have to keep paying higher floor and higher price for it. The other one, the 1,238 one, right, you do get two totally different views. One of them facing the pool, and the other one will be facing the One Holland V. You get a landed unblocked view if you buy a slightly higher floor. Will the developer price the pool facing more expensive than the unblocked facing? If I'm the developer, I will be pricing the unblocked facing more expensive because it's an open view, right? So if the developer does it this way, then you must see what is the premium in the pricing you are paying. If the premium is like 100, 200k difference for whatever reason, right, just go for a safe certainty pool facing, which is actually probably good enough. So a way to see how a developer might behave in terms of their pricing, right, is to see what they value more. So how you do that is that you find the 5 bedroom. The 5 bedroom typically has the best view or the most premium view in the entire development. So in this case, the developer has given the 5-bedder the unblocked landed view. So you know, this developer potentially is thinking that this is their most prized possession in terms of the view, which means the pricing over here will definitely be a premium. But 5-bedder, they won't be like a premium in pricing because you only got one stack. So nothing to really like compare with. Okay, but in terms of the floor plan, it very much looks like the 4-bedder premium 1,400 plus square feet. Of course, with an additional bedroom over here. Otherwise, the layout is pretty similar to the 4 bedroom. So if you're a family that needs more bedroom, here you have a choice of 5. So yes, we have so many different type of topics we can discuss, but I always feel that a one-to-one kind of a discussion always is better because it's more personalized to your needs, as everybody's needs is totally different. So if you want to find out more what is the best property move for you, feel free to scan my QR code here or contact me via my number on the screen and we can get in contact for more personalized discussion.